I'm Howard Phillips Lovecraft, and today's question comes from Juan, who wants to know my thoughts on the Garfield comic strip, and in particular the fan iteration of this comic, which transforms Garfield from a rather delightful kitty into a nightmarish abomination of eldritch proportions and sensibilities known as the "I'm sorry, John" meme. Now, one of the delights of being reanimated into this modern world is to see how triumphant cats have become in the popular cultural sphere. All the various creatures such as Felix or Heathcliff have been such a delight to peruse, but none has had quite the power and the dynamism of Garfield. Since the 1970s, Garfield has dominated comic strips and newspapers, television shows, movies, games. The entire Paws Incorporated industry has produced him into plushies and telephones and games of all sorts. It's been a remarkable sight to behold. And it's even more remarkable when you consider the rather humble designs that Jim Davis had. He created this cat to have mass appeal, to be able to tell these stories again and again with very comfortable, similar themes, nothing too threatening, beyond a few times when Davis has stepped outside of his bubble. In particular, there was the 1989 series where he explored themes of loneliness and mortality by having Garfield wake up in a dilapidated house all to himself with none of his family around, until finally, after a week of exploring this existential loneliness, he overcame it through the power of denial. And then, of course, there was the time that he depicted John Arbuckle ingesting a cup of canine seminal fluid. So clearly something is going on in Mr. Davis's mind, but for the most part, what defines Garfield is his mundanity. And I think, therefore, the juxtaposition we see of that mundanity, that everyday, dependable cat, with these nightmares that the internet is so good at creating, we find a disconnect. But it's understandable. We are living through grotesque times when things that should be comforting, that should be everyday and dependable, are shown to be grotesque nightmares themselves. And we are, all of us, dealing with the trauma of these ongoing nightmares. And finding ways to process them is what art is very skilled at. So, I do not mind people taking this delightful cat and turning him into a nightmare to explore themes that are otherwise forbidden. Just remember, we can do this with pretend cats, with real cats. All we need to shower them with devotion, give them occasional snugs, and go big stretch whenever they give a big stretch. As always, I'm Howard Phillips Lovecraft. Thank you.